Hey everybody at Orwell Wheelers, I'm Sinead Kennedy and I'm going to take you on a whistle-stop tour of Colombia, where I cycled the longest climb in the world in a mere 8 hours with terrible food poisoning because I had picked up a rod-shaped bacteria called Shigella a few days prior. So not only was it the longest climb in the world, it was also the longest day of my life and probably the hardest one ever. So I don't know how I'm going to do it in 3 minutes, but I'm going to try. Vamos, let's go. So welcome to Colombia, and it really is a huge country. It's about the same size as South Africa. So arriving into Bogota is where all the international flights come. And then I took internal flights. I went up here to the north to Santa Marta, which is where I did a 4-day jungle trek. Then I came across here to Cartagena, where there's beautiful islands in the Caribbean Sea. Then I flew down here to Medellin, which is where I picked up my cycling guide. And this purple area here is where I did most of my cycling. Then I went across here to Manizales and then back to Bogota and then home. Now, the great thing about Bogota is that there's free cycling tours everywhere in the city. So it's a really great way to get to know your logistics and just find your feet, basically. So a good introduction to cycling in Bogota before I headed up north to the rest of the country. Now, Colombia has a very famous export, but here it is in its natural form. So this is a bag of cocoa leaves. This is my travel teddy. He comes absolutely everywhere with me. So when I was on the north coast, I did a 4-day trek in and out of La Ciudad Perdida, which is the lost city. But what I want you to notice here is the thick, dense jungle. And this is really what the most of Colombia looks like, to be honest with you. So particularly in the cycling areas, it's just you're never going to find anybody in it. This is me at the Lost City, which is, like I said, a 4-day trek in and out, an absolute highlight of my life, I'll be honest with you. So this was all good preparation for cycling. This is me having a mud bath massage as well, which was much needed after 4 days trekking before I went cycling. I also enjoyed some amazing time in the Caribbean Sea. And Colombia is a really great way to do the Caribbean on the cheap, to be honest with you, rather than going to Barbados. So this is Medellin, and you might know this from Narcos if you were watching it. It is a city and it's in the basin. There's a great big valley the whole way around it. And this is taken in Comuna 13, looking down into the city. So this is where Pablo Escobar and all the gang had their factories, and they would take their produce out into the jungle. It's also where I met my cycling guide, who I have to say was a complete idiot, and we didn't get on at all. But you can read about all that. I have a book coming out very soon, and I have all my adventures in it. So he took me on a 100K cycle in preparation, and you can see here that there was a massive descent. Now that descent went on for some 40 kilometers, and this is the area I was cycling, and it's basically just outside of Medellin. And I want to show you here the elevations. So we were tootling along. We were up at 2,200 meters for most of the day. And then we took a massive descent, 40 kilometers, all the way back down approximately to sea level. So I passed two Team Sky cyclists here. It was still Team Sky at the time. It was Sergio and Sebastian Henua. But unfortunately, I was going too fast downhill and they were going uphill. So we didn't get to see each other properly. So the longest climb on Earth is called Alto de Letras, alto meaning top. I elevated gain on that day almost 3,700 meters, and it took me just under 8 hours. Now, like I said in my introduction, I was so sick. I actually had a rod-shaped bacterial infection, and I ended up in hospital when I got back to Ireland for my troubles. But it did make for a very tough day on the bike, and I think it would have been a tough day regardless. So this is sort of the area that I started cycling in. This is quite lowlands. Started off early in the morning. The temperature was pretty good. Altitude, not a problem because I was down at sea level pretty much. This is not my guide. My guide did not cycle with me for the day. Instead, he chose to go off with one of his mates and left me for 8 hours pretty much on my own. But you can read all about that, like I said in my book. This is just local life in Colombia. And here's the elevation for the day. So basically 80 kilometers straight up. There was a bit of a respite here. And it was absolutely murder because two dogs tried to chase me and they actually tried to bite my ankles. So I was absolutely wrecked. And then I had this dog chase. It really wasn't what I needed. I also, as you know, was incredibly sick. So
So a great day altogether. And this is typical Colombia. I mean, this is really the whole area I was cycling, and you can see the beautiful blue skies. It was December time, and I loved it. The road surface was perfect. Everything was good, just apart from me, my stomach, and my guide. But apart from that, the bike was lovely. This is me towards the end. I was at about 3,000 meters here. I was a good 7 hours in at this stage. My support vehicle did come back to find me. She did come back periodically, but I mean, there was hours when I didn't see anybody. I was just going along talking to myself, and I passed some vultures, and I think even they felt sorry for me. I was going so slow. um, this is my guide. He did eventually come back to me with about 8 kilometers left to go. I mean, it was 80 kilometers of a day, and he comes back to me at 72 kilometers, and then he jumps on my back wheel and plays on his phone. So anyone who knows me knows I was pretty vocal to him, and told him exactly what I thought of him, but he deserved it in my world. I had paid him a lot of money, it should be noted. You know, I did pay a lot of money to go on this trip. And I had this guide for myself for 3 days, and he just wasn't interested. Here I am having a great time. That's one little downhill bit, but you can see it goes on around the valley and then up, 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 up. Here I am looking pretty shattered, getting a rehydration from the support vehicle. And here I am at the end in my Orwell gear with my own little teddy. He comes everywhere, like I said, in my pocket. He's done Italy, he's been all over France, he's been to Spain, he's cycled a lot of major climbs in the world, including Colombia. And this little cat is the gift they give you at the end, the cycling company that I was with. I would have preferred a guide for the day, but instead I got a teddy. But sure, what can you do? And then here I am. This is my speed. As you can see, it's pathetic. It's 10 kilometers an hour for 8 hours. And if you notice here, I only stopped for 15 minutes out of 8 hours. So the reason for that was if I got off, I would never get back on. And the other reason is, I mean, you just have to keep going. You just got to grind it out. There's no other way. And then, of course, I got beautiful suntan lines, which is an absolute must for all of us cyclists, our summer legs. And like I said, coming out very soon on Amazon, I have a book. It's on all of my adventures. It's got Colombia, it's got Myanmar, it's got France, Italy, Spain, Cuba, all sorts of cycling adventures, and all of them, there's a reason why I'm writing about them, because none of them were easy. So I hope that you enjoyed this whistle-stop tour of Colombia. And I'm sorry I don't have more time to tell you about it, because it really is a fascinating country. But I hope you had a little taster here. All right, adios. See you on your bike very soon. Bye-bye.